Good morning, students. Today I am going to discuss session 3 of chapter 3 Kingdom Plantae from your class 11 biology syllabus. Already we have discussed session 1 and session 2 of this chapter, and from those two sessions we came to know about the plant kingdom, the overview of the plant kingdom, the classification of the plantae, description, classification, reproduction strategy and examples of algae and bryophytes. Today we are going to discuss pteridophytes and the gymnosperm. And I think all of you know this thing, one thing, that angiosperm is excluded from your class 11 revised syllabus. So with the pteridophytes and gymnosperm, this chapter will be completed. So let's start the today's class. Today we are going to discuss these pteridophytes. Okay. So these pteridophytes actually used as the medicinal purposes and as the soil binders also. Okay. So frequently actually these kinds of the plants frequently grown as the ornamental plants also. And they are the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissue. Okay, that's the xylem and phloem. I think all of you know this thing, that what is the meaning of the vascular tissue. Vascular tissue is one kind of the tissue present in the plant's body which actually helps in the transportation in the plant's body. So there are two types of the vascular tissues present in the plant's body. First one is the xylem, another one is the phloem. So xylem actually is one important vascular tissue present in the plant body. So what is the main function of the xylem? The main function of xylem that to transport the water and minerals in all over the plant's body. And what is the basic function of the phloem? The basic function of the phloem that it actually circulates all the food materials to all over the plant's body. So evolutionary, they are the first terrestrial plants to possess these kinds of the tissue, this special tissue. These pteridophytes are actually found in the cool, damp, shady places through some may flourish well and sandy soil conditions. So you can say this thing, the bryophytes also you have found all those things in the cool, damp, shady places. In the pteridophytes also the same thing is happened with the pteridophytes. So these kinds of the plants are found in the cool, damp, shady places through some may flourish well in sandy soil conditions. Actually after that, you may I think recall that the bryophytes, the dominant phase in the life cycle is the gametophytic plant body. I think you have remembered all those things because already we have discussed all those things in our last session. Okay, so these kinds of the plant body is also a gametophytic phase and the sporophytic phase also. Okay, and it has true root, true stem and true leaf. So this is the basic identifying characters, and the distinguished characters also between the pteridophytes and the bryophytes. So bryophytes actually do not have any specific root, specific stem, specific leaf. Okay, but this pteridophytes has the true root, true stem and true leaf. So these organs possesses well differentiated vascular tissue. The leaves in the pteridophytes are small as Selanginella or large as in ferns. Okay, so this small kind's leaf is called the microphyll and the large kind leaf is called the macrophyll. Okay, so this is the basic things. Okay, and after that the sporophytes bear sporangia that are subtended by actually the leaf-like appendages, that's called the sporophytes. Okay, one leaf-like appendages is there, that's called the sporophyll. So these kinds of the things are important for your MCQ examination, that what is the basic things, what is the basic meaning of the sporophytes. So these sporangia actually produce spores by meiosis in spore mother cells. Okay, so for the production of the spore it need one mother cell, because already we all know this thing that from the mother cell one new offspring will produce. Okay, so this sporangia actually produce spores by meiosis in the spore mother cell, and after that these spores germinate to give rise to inconspicuous small but multicellular free living mostly photosynthetic thalloid gametophyte called the prothallus. So I think already all of you know this thing that one plant's body has two predominant stages in their reproduction, like one is the sporophytic phase, another one is the gametophytic phase. I am writing one is the sporophytic phase, another one is the gametophytic phase. Okay, I am repeating again, one plant's body, one plant's life cycle has two predominant stage. Okay, one sporophytic phase in their reproduction, in actually reproductive life. One is the sporophytic phase, another one is the gametophytic phase. Okay, so this sporangia, after the production of the spores by the spore mother cell, these spores are actually germinate to give rise to the inconspicuous small but multicellular free living and mostly photosynthetic thalloid gametophytes is produced, and that's called the prothallus, and it's called the prothallus. Okay, so after that, so in some cases these sporophytes may form the distinct compact structure called the strobili or cones. Okay, and these kinds of sporangia produce spores by meiosis in the spore mother cells. Okay, so these gametophytes bear male and female sex organs called the antheridia and archegonia respectively. These gametophytic phase, these gametophytes actually bear male and female sex organs, that's called the antheridia and archegonia respectively. Okay, because we all know this gametophytic phase, is the phase where sexual reproduction takes place. This gametophytic phase is the phase where sexual reproduction takes place. I think all of you know this thing. So for that reason, for the sexual reproduction we need one male sex organs and another one is the female sex organ. Okay, and one male gamete and another female gamete we require. So we need this thing for the sexual reproduction. So here the same thing is happen, the gametophyte, actually these gametophytes bear male and female sex organs called the antheridia and archegonia respectively. So after that this water is required for transfer of antherozoites. This male gametes released from the antheridia to the mouth of the archegonium. Okay. Fusion of the male gamete with the egg present in the archegonium result in the formation of the zygote. So I am repeating again, this gametophytic phase, these gametophytes actually bear the male and female sex organs called the antheridia and archegonia. So male sex organ is called the antheridia and the female sex organ is called the archegonia. Okay, so this now for the sexual reproduction what we need actually, the male and gamete and this female gamete conjugate together, the fuse together and form one zygote. So here the water is required for transfer of antherozoites, the male gamete released from the antheridia to the mouth of the archegonium. Fusion of the male gamete with the egg present in the archegonium result in the formation of the zygote. So next thing is the zygote thereafter produces a multicellular well differentiated sporophyte, which is the dominant phase of the pteridophyte. So zygote thereafter produces a multicellular well differentiated sporophyte, which is the dominant phase of the pteridophytes. In majority of the pteridophytes, all the spores are of similar kinds. Such plants are called the homosporous. Such plants are called the homosporous. Okay, what is the meaning of it? Where homom is the same, the word homom is the same, so where the pteridophytes, all the spores are of similar kind, such plants are called the homosporous. Okay, and after that the genera like Selangillella and Salvinia, which produces two kinds of spores, macro and micro, that's also called the heterospora. That is called the heterosporous. Okay, hetero means the different. Okay, homosporous and the heterosporous. After that, these megaspores and microspores germinate and give rise to the female and male gametophytes respectively. Okay, I am repeating again. After that, this megaspore and microspore actually germinate their own self and give rise to female and male gametophytes respectively. And these female gametophytes in these plants are actually retained on the parent sporophytes for variable periods of time. The development of this zygote into young embryo takes place within the female gametophyte. So this event is a precursor to the seed habit, considered as the important step in the evolution. So these pteridophytes are further classified into four classes also. Okay, Coelopsida, Lycopsida, Spenopsida and the Pteropsida. So these pteridophytes have the roots, proper stem, proper leaf, and they have the vascular tissue also. Just look at the structure. So this is the basic things of the pteridophytes. This is the basic things of the pteridophytes. Okay, so this is the examples of the pteridophytes. Just long leaf like structure, long leaf is there. Okay, this is long leaf is there. So here plants with feather like leaf is there. Okay, this is the picture of the pteridophytes. The main plant is the fern, and this fern is also serves as the ornamental plant. I think all of you know this thing. So this is our pteridophytes. Next thing is the gymnosperm. Next plant kingdom is the gymnosperm. Okay, so this gymnosperm, actually this word actually coming from the gymnos, it means the naked, and the spermum is the seed. Okay, it means the naked seed. So these gymnosperms are plants in which the ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall and remain exposed both before and after the fertilization. I am repeating again, the gymnospores are plants in which the ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall and remain exposed both before and after the fertilization. So these gymnosperms include the medium-sized trees or tall trees and shrub species also. So the roots are generally tap roots. Roots in some genera have the fungal association in the form of the mycorrhiza. So what is the meaning of the mycorrhiza? This is one symbiotic relationship also. Have you heard the term lichen? I think you have heard the term lichen. So this is also one kind of the symbiotic relationship of the algae and the fungi. Okay, so this same thing is happened in the mycorrhiza also. So here the roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of the mycorrhiza. Okay, so here also the stems are like the pine tree, while in some other plants like the cycas, small specialized roots called the coralloid roots are also there, which is associated with the nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. So these kinds of the roots actually helps for the nitrogen fixation. So here the stems are actually unbranched or branched, and the leaves may be simple or compound. Okay, so the leaves in gymnosperms are well adapted to withstand extreme of temperature, humidity and wind. The leaves in gymnosperms are well adapted to withstand extremes of the temperature, humidity and the wind. Okay, so I am repeating again. So the main features, the main characteristics of the gymnosperm, that this is the naked seeded plants. Okay, and these kinds of plants in which where the ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall and remain exposed. Okay, one of the gymnosperm, this is actually one of the gymnosperms, the giant redwood tree that called the scacia is one of the taller tree species. Okay, and these roots are generally tap root system. These kinds of the plants has the tap root system. Okay, and after that actually these gymnosperm include the medium sized trees to tall trees and subspecies also. Okay, and actually there is another important and unique feature actually you can see in this gymnosperm, that the mycorrhizal association. Okay, what is the meaning of it? The roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of the mycorrhiza. Here the stems are unbranched or branched and the leaves may be simple or compound. The leaves in gymnosperms are well adapted to withstand extreme of temperatures, humidity and wind. So apart from these all those things, their thick cuticle and sunken stomata also help to reduce the water loss. So normally the gymnosperms are the heterosporous. What is the meaning of the heterosporous? Just now we have discussed. Heterosporous means the two different kinds of spores are actually producing in the gymnosperm plant. Two different kinds of spores are actually producing in the gymnosperm plant. Okay, so they produce the haploid microspores and megaspore. Okay, microspore means the small spore and the megaspore means the large size spore. Okay, haploid means the n number chromosome, not the double chromosome, okay, n number chromosome is there. The two kinds of spores are produced within sporangia that are borne on sporophytes which are arranged spirally along an axis to form the lax or compact strobili or cones. Okay, so these strobili actually bears the microsporophytes, and microsporangia are called the microsporangiate or the male strobili. I am repeating again. So these gymnosperms are one kinds of the heterosporous plant and they produce haploid microspores and megaspores. These two kinds of the spores are produced within the sporangia that are home on sporophytes which are arranged spirally along an axis to form the lax or compact strobili or cones. This cone-like structure is there. Okay. So that's why this is called the compact strobili or cones. The strobili bearing microspheres and the microsporangia are called the microsporangiate or male strobili. The microspores develop into a male gametophytic generation which is highly reduced and is confined to only a limited number of cells. Okay. This reduced gametophyte is called a pollen grain. This reduced number of gametophytes is called the pollen grain. The development of pollen grains take place within the microsporangia. The development of pollen grains take place within the microsporangia. Okay. So the cones bearing megasporophytes with ovules or megasporangia are called the female strobili. So it needs also the male strobili and female strobili for the reproduction. This male or female cones or strobili may be born on the same tree, just like it's present in the pine tree, pinus. Next thing is so this is the cone-like structure. Just look at the structure. Okay, these are called the strobili. Okay, this is the cone-like structure is there. Okay. So after that, these kinds of the things, however, in cycas, these male cones and megasporophytes are born on different trees, and apart from these all those things, it actually produce and form one zygote. Okay, so unlike these bryophytes and pteridophytes, in gymnosperms the male and female gametophytes do not have any independent free living existence. I am repeating again, unlike the bryophytes, unlike the pteridophytes, but the gymnosperm do not have any independent free living existence in male and female gametophyte, in both of these. Okay, they remain within the sporangia retained on the sporophytes. So the pollen grain is released from the microsporangium and they are carried in air currents and come in contact with the opening of the ovules born in the megasporophiles. The pollen tube carrying the male gametes, we all know this thing, this grows towards the archegonia in the ovule and discharges their contents near the mouth of the archegonia. Okay, that's why their seeds are not covered. That's why their seeds are uncovered and naked. Okay, so these are the gymnosperm plant. Okay, and this is the example like pine tree. These kinds of tree you will find in the hilly area. Okay. So from today's video, what we actually got to know about the pteridophytes and gymnosperm. Okay, the salient features of the pteridophytes, salient features of the gymnosperm, their reproductive strategy and the proper example. Okay, so this chapter is completed. Why? Because angiosperm is excluded from your revised syllabus. Okay, so you have to study only algae, bryophyte, pteridophyte and the gymnosperm. Okay. So with this gymnosperm, the chapter is completed. Okay, in our next video we will discuss chapter 4 or chapter 1. Okay, whatever. But I hope this video will help you a lot for better understanding, and I think all of you know this thing that from the next examination, your examination will be held in MCQ format. So please be prepared about this matter. Okay, please start your preparation from today only. Don't think that from tomorrow we'll start. Okay, so I think no problem is there, but still now if you are having any queries, just ask me in my number. Okay, thank you, bye.